Okay. Welcome to Community Matters. This is Becky Steinbrunner. I'm your host today, and I appreciate you all being out there. With us on phone is Miss Tonya Rivera. She is the mover and shaker of a group called Never Again Moss Landing. She pulled together her neighbors in the Prunedale Moss Landing area in response to the disaster that began on January 16th into 17th, into many days after, when the Vistra battery storage plant in Moss Landing caught fire. Many of you out there probably saw the smoke. Maybe you saw the flames. My husband and I went to the bluffs at Seacliff, and with binoculars we could see the flames and we watched the smoke. We wondered what was going to become of all that, as did many people in the immediate community of Moss Landing and Prunedale, Royal Oaks, and they were getting no information. So many thanks to Tonya Rivera and her good neighbors for pulling together to organize and get answers and work with local officials to try to figure out what has or has not happened and where to go from there. I'd like to welcome you now, Tonya Rivera. Thank you so much for joining us here on Community Matters. Why don't you introduce yourself?
First, I want to thank you for letting us come in and talk about what's going on and what we've been doing. I live approximately 2 miles from the plant, the Moss Landing plant, as the crow flies. And would you like me to tell you how this all started? How our community got together?
Yes. Inform the listeners, because people can listen from anywhere in the world here on this forum. And I want to, you don't have to completely review everything that's happened, but what I think people in the audience are really interested in is, what are you doing? What are your neighbors doing? And what are you learning? I see I have another caller on that may want to chime in with this a bit about the toxicity of the batteries. Do you want to have her just come in on the line and just join you? If
Sure.
It's Nina Beatty, and she is another mover and shaker. I think you can both be on the line at the same time. I'll bring her in, just with my apologies, but let's get her in because she's a wealth of knowledge that I think you and everyone will benefit by. Let me see. Hello, Nina. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you fine, Becky.
Excellent. Thank you. Nina, just I'm just going to quickly say, do you have much time, Nina?
No, I don't, unfortunately, but I can share some of the issues that have arisen in Monterey County. But I have probably about 10 minutes.
Okay.
Please go ahead with Nina.
Okay, we've also got Tonya Rivera on the line, Nina.
Right.
Maximum
And she
time permitted. Recording your message. If you are satisfied with your message,
Oh,
press 1.
Tonya,
Your
that's
2. To erase and re-record.
that's
press
from where
3.
I was trying to call you earlier. So Tonya is
Are you still there? You have reached the maximum time permitted for recording your message. If you are satisfied with your message, press 1. To listen to your message, press 2. To erase and re-record, press 3.
okay. Nina, why don't you go ahead? I think Tonya has
Are you
stepped
still
off
there?
for a
You have
minute.
reached the maximum time permitted
Okay.
for recording your message.
I'm
if you
not
are
sure.
satisfied with your message, press 1. To listen to your message, press 2. To erase and re-record,
Oh,
press
goodness.
3.
Hi, you've reached Tonya with Alcal Specialty Contracting. Please leave your name and number, and I'll
Sorry
call
you're
you back
having
as soon
trouble.
as
Your
possible.
message has
Thanks.
been sent.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Okay. Let's see. It sounds like maybe it's okay now. Nina, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay. Let's see, Tonya, with your permission, I'd like to have Nina tell us what she knows about the batteries. She was one of, it sounds like, the few people who testified against approval of this project back in 2019 and knows a lot about the site and project. So Nina, would you go ahead and give us a bit of information about what you know, background and things like that?
Okay, just briefly, I was not able to be involved with the project when it was, I saw it in the newspapers. Unfortunately, there were other pressing issues that were happening in the area and in the state, and unfortunately no one else stepped forward. There was a group of people in the area around the plant, and they filed an appeal. This was heard before the Planning Commission, the Monterey County Planning Commission. But unfortunately, that appeal, for reasons I don't know, went away, and so the Board of Supervisors never actually heard the project. But this has been, it's gone in phases. There's two projects. There's the Vistra Energy project, and it's had several phases, and then the Pacific Gas and Electric and Tesla project, which is also on the site. There have been 4 incidents there. 3 incidents have been Vistra, and 1 was PG&E Tesla, where flames were visible from the highway, and they shut down Highway 1 for a number of hours. I just wanted to raise an issue before I start on the Coastal Commission. Will be hearing on Thursday next week about dredging at the harbor. This should not be occurring as they're collecting evidence from the fire. So I encourage listeners to contact the Coastal Commission. This is on the Energy, Ocean Resources, and Federal Consistency section of the agenda. It's at the very beginning on Thursday. You won't see it on the agenda. It's in the director's report. So I encourage people to open that report and see that item, and also contact the Coastal Commission and tell them this has to be put off until all evidence has been collected on what's the fallout from the fire. The plant went through, was approved. There was no environmental impact report done on the plant on any of the phases. The county instead wrote a mitigated negative declaration that had false statements about the impacts and ignoring the known hazards. That was, the batteries had already had fires on other in other settings. And so they ignored the known hazards and said there was no significant environmental impacts.
Wow.
You have reached the maximum time permitted for recording your message.
Oh, no.
If you're satisfied with the message, press 1. To listen to your message, press 2. To erase and re-record, press 3.
Okay, Supervisor Daniels was on the Planning Commission at that time and voted for
If you're satisfied with the message, press 1. To listen to your message, press 2. To erase and re-record, press 3.
I think one of the things that came through initially, as I was looking up lithium-ion batteries...
If you're satisfied with the message, press 1. To listen to your message, press 2. To erase and re-record, press 3.
Tonya, is that your phone?
Sorry you're having trouble. Your message has been sent. Please try again later. Goodbye.
Okay.
Okay. Lithium-ion batteries, for those who don't know, are explosively flammable to water, heat, and air, and vulnerable to thermal runaway. I think it's very unwise to put them in an earthquake zone, multiple earthquake faults in the vicinity, under 2 500-plus foot tall towers that could topple in an earthquake onto these facilities. This is also in an inundation zone and a sea level rise zone. So this is and in a corrosive marine environment with salt air. So this has so many strikes against it that should have been foreseen by the county, but I think it was rushed through and avoided all mention of these types of issues, as well as toxics on the site that were never really adequately addressed. Where did that toxic soil go from the old PG&E plant? Plus, information I received a number of years ago was that PG&E ran an unpermitted breeder reactor on the site, and none of the state, county, or federal agencies I contact were willing to investigate this as Vistra started demolishing everything and digging deep into the soil. Now that if there's contamination there, radioactive contamination, that's been spread everywhere. So there's just a lot of issues that people would not look at and I fault particularly Monterey County and I fault the state for not taking this seriously, but they were pushing battery storage, and so you overlook things when that happens. Hydrofluoric acid, as everyone now knows, is a product of these fires. It's highly toxic. It can kill, and it can travel very, very fast. Inhalation doses are very low for lethal doses. People here, one person I know in Monterey tasted the metal taste. So
many here in Santa Cruz did.
Oh, this has been widespread, and yet a newspaper account that came out yesterday in the paper shows that Monterey County is trying to downplay the initial results that have come from the San Jose State University on this. And neither the county nor our Monterey Bay Area Resources District purchased hydrogen fluoride detectors, even though they kept saying this is the largest battery storage facility in the world. They didn't purchase anything or install them around the plant when each phase was being built to continually monitor what is coming off the plant. So there are so many mistakes that have been made all along. In addition, they used the wrong plume dispersion modeling for project approval. It was based on Monterey Airport data, not Moss Landing. It was only after the third incident, where there was actually a fire that you could see from the highway, that they created a weather station at the plant itself. And I understand they did this also, Vistra also did this in San Luis Obispo for the battery storage facility they wanted to build at Morro Bay. Is they took data from a weather station that was many miles distant from the actual location where the plant would be created. So for the U.S. EPA and CTEH, which is the company that Vistra hired,
yes,
have said no results. But looking into the background of both EPA and CTEH, I think most people in the public that have run into contact with EPA have seen the situation after toxic situation where EPA has said no problem here, including the East Palestine, Pennsylvania, devastating train derailment that has released all those toxins. CTEH was also hired by the company there
Interesting.
too, and was also involved with the Deep Horizon BP oil spill. And they go all the way back to when tobacco industry was being sued, and they have testified, as I understand it, on behalf of tobacco scientists. This was a long time ago, but this is the beginning and the follow-through of their history. So these are not independent sources, and I think we have to have toxicologists that are independent. We have to have monitoring agency, or not agencies, but companies that will do this and actually assess what's going on. The more information I find out about this, I was alerted to the manufacturing defects. That's another whole issue that the industry itself has admitted, a recent article, that the manufacturing defects for these lithium-ion batteries cannot be easily detected from external examination. So it's like a surprise. It's like you just don't know, a dangerous roulette sort of situation where you install these, but you really don't know, are there impurities in here? Are there problems? They can't be detected. And a researcher, I just saw a study that said we need to develop better methods of understanding, are these batteries flawed? In addition, you have thermal runaway problems. So this is, I was sat in a hearing at the CPUC years ago where they were at that time saying we want to go 30% renewable, and yet they had no viable technologies at that time to reach that goal, but that was going to drive policy. And unfortunately, now we are at the state has, I believe, has said that we are going to go 100% renewable by a certain date very soon.
Yes.
And it's driving policy without the science, without the solid technology to really make that happen. And that's very dangerous when we have investors stepping up and say, well, I want this situation for me, and yet downstream we say, oh no, we shouldn't have made that decision. That was a faulty decision. I have been impressed with Supervisor Glenn Church. He has been unwavering in his focus on this, and but I was very disappointed by the rest of the Board of Supervisors on Tuesday morning at their board meeting. There was not one item on the agenda, an update.
I saw that. I was amazed.
Yes. Yet Santa Cruz County Board of Supervisors, boy, they were right there on the agenda and taking public comment.
Yeah.
So I think that it seems to me that in Monterey County, at least some of the officials want to downplay this and make this go away. In fact, I think everyone needs to. I just got a newsletter from John Laird, and I, again, very disappointed in Senator Laird. The issue of the battery fire was, to my mind, downplayed when it should have been at the top of the page right next to the Los Angeles fires as far as how devastating this is, and we just don't know what the potential impacts are. I'm disturbed that Santa Cruz County has apparently approved more, facilities in an area that is so dependent on agriculture, particularly organic agriculture. I think those permits need to be walked back based on the evidence that we have now that this is not a safe technology at this point, and it doesn't. The future of Santa Cruz County and its agriculture and its tourism. I have no idea what this is going to do to Monterey County agriculture and tourism.
Yeah.
And home values.
Yes.
So,
Nina, thank you. I'd like to give you a chance, Tonya, a chance to weigh in here, and the two of you need to get together. And I hope you will be on an advisory panel with the Never Again Moss Landing group. Let me bring Tonya back on. Let me see.
Thank you.
Hi, Tonya.
Sorry about my phone not working. I've changed phones.
Oh, okay, thank you. Were you able to hear what Nina said?
Yes, I listened to everything that Nina said.
Excellent.
What a wealth of information
Indeed.
she is, and yes, we need to get together.
Yeah.
Just to, she was talking about testing and whatnot, and I had not heard that dredging was scheduled to start, which it cannot because the testing has not been done out there yet. The county just doesn't seem to, the Monterey County, not Santa Cruz County, Monterey County just does not seem to want to admit that it needs to be done this quickly. And we as a group, and again, we are not affiliated with the government. We're not affiliated with any other groups or whatnot. This is just a group of community people that got together. We need to do something. And Becky, you were a part of helping us do testing.
That was amazing. Describe that a bit to our audience, because it was amazing. And Nina, if you need to go, I know you've got a short time.
Yes, I do need to get off but I will be in touch with you and with Tonya. This is a fantastic service you're providing to the community and to the greater community about these battery storage facilities. So thank you both for what you're doing. It's just really
thank
wonderful.
you. It's the people that like you that we need to have, that we can come to so we can get this information to the people. That's our goal.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
So, Nina, I encourage you to look up neveragainmosslanding.org. Did I get that right, Tonya, your website?
Yes.
Okay. Nina, thank you very much, and we'll be in touch. Thank you so much. She is a gem, Tonya, and I'm really hoping that she'll join one of the wonderful committees that you've got going in your organization there. So please go ahead. I interrupted you, but I knew she was short on time.
That's fine. Not a problem at all. So you had asked me to let the listeners know what we did for testing. To step back a little bit, the County of Monterey and Vistra, the only testing they were doing was air testing.
Yes.
And that air testing was worthless. There's pretty much no getting around that. And telling us that there was no toxins in the air around us. They kept telling all of the people who had symptoms about runny noses, the taste of, I had metallic taste in my mouth.
Yeah.
My eyes still continue to itch. I got a rash on my face this past Saturday.
Wow.
And the county health, Monterey County Health, attributed it to wood-burning fireplaces.
Wasn't that something?
I've lived here for 27 years. I live in the country. There's wood-burning fireplaces all around me. Not once have I ever felt anything like that.
Yeah.
I certainly have never tasted metallic in my mouth.
Yeah.
So,
excuse me, did you report that, Tonya? Did you report your symptoms to anyone?
Yes.
Good. And maybe
yes,
you can share how to do that with our listeners as well.
I actually called the county, was the first thing that I did. And because I did not like what we were hearing, that it was wood-burning stoves or wood-burning fireplaces.
Yeah.
And then on our Facebook, our group, the Never Again Moss Landing, on our Facebook group, we started a second group that was symptoms, Moss Landing fire symptoms. I believe at the last count, it was over 375 people have logged their symptoms in to our website.
Wow.
So that we can easily do that. Again, it's Moss Landing Fire, neveragainmosslanding.org is the website.
And do you encourage people to also directly call the Monterey County Health or the Santa Cruz County Health official and report these so that it's logged in?
Yes.
Good.
Yes, I do, whichever county you live in, because it affected both of our counties.
Yes.
Very much.
Yes.
And whichever county you are in, I would encourage you to call the health department and let them know.
Yeah.
Then with what has been logged into our Facebook page about symptoms, we are turning that over to the health department also.
Good.
We're turning that over to, Glenn Church, the supervisor here in this area.
Mm-hmm.
Glenn has been so behind us on absolutely everything. He wants this taken care of. He wants to know the truth. And so we make sure that his office has all of our information also.
Yeah, good.
I will tell you that many, many people around here are going to their personal doctors to have heavy metal testing done.
Mm-hmm.
And so it would be blood work. And just to find out, we don't know what the concentrations are, but if you continue to have symptoms, let's have it logged so that they know what to look for.
Yeah. Let me interrupt you a little bit. That issue came up at Tuesday's Santa Cruz County Board of Supervisors meeting. I wasn't able to stay for the full meeting, but I listened to the recording, which you can access, as you can in Monterey too, by going to the County Board of Supervisors website for the meeting. Ours was on January 28th. Tuesday, and click on the audio, and you can listen to that exact recording at that. It was agenda number 8, first up on the regular agenda. It came up from members of the public. Their doctors, their friends who are doctors, their friends who are nurses are are getting these symptoms, seeing clients with these symptoms, and the county has not given any direction to the medical profession locally what to do, what to look for. And
no, neither in Monterey County has that happened either.
It's amazing. The director of public health got up and she said, well, we really don't have a procedure for this because it's not an infectious disease. I thought, my goodness, where is our emergency planning? So anyway, I interrupted you, but people need to inform their physicians that they want it reported to the public health.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they want to be tested for heavy metals like and lithium, also tested for carbon monoxide, cyanide, magnesium,
cobalt, manganese, nickel, and lithium are the 4 metals that I see commonly reported.
Right. Those are the 4 most common ones when people talk about lithium batteries.
Mm-hmm.
But there are others, like cyanide. Who wants to find cyanide in
Holy cow.
No. Just different things like that.
Yeah.
And so we encourage, I don't even have to say I encourage everyone with symptoms to go to their doctor and make them send that information to the county health.
Yeah.
There were several doctors in the beginning that I heard of around here. They're going, well, we're not going to send that. We don't know what to do with it. Well, just send the information.
Report
to them.
it. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's very important that you do keep a complete log of what's been happening to you, what's been happening to your pets.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah.
Because we've never been around this before.
No. Tonya, we have a caller. Do you want to hold the call until after you describe a little bit about what your group did to collect samples, or do you want to take it now?
It's up to you.
Oh, gosh. Well, this caller has been waiting for 12 minutes, so
let's take the call.
Let's take her. Her name is Mary. Let me get you on the line here. Mary, are you there?
I am. Good afternoon, ladies.
Hello. Thank you. Do you want to respond to what you've heard, or do you have comments or questions?
What I've heard is remarkable. I am so happy people are doing this, and especially that you're requesting that there is some place to record it.
Yeah.
I mean, blood samples are blood samples if they are kept and not deleted or ignored, then they are very valuable. It must be done. Similarly, air and plants and ground soil.
Yes.
And our ocean waters and so on and so forth. And then not too long from now, from animal, our ocean life and everything else.
Mary,
but
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Did you taste any metal in your mouth or notice any odd odor during the fires?
Well, my husband calls me the canary, and I'm very sensitive to air quality, and I have asthmatic responses pretty quickly. I could smell it, and there's a psychological component to it, but I do think that I have a good sense of smell, and I also have an asthmatic response. So I definitely had trouble. There's no doubt about it. Did I get tested? No. But what I want to say...
Can I ask one question? Just generally, Mary, what area of Santa Cruz County do you live in?
I'm in the Prospect Heights area.
Okay, thank you.
Elementary school.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure. So what I really want to say, Becky, is this. Do you remember alchemy
Yes.
and the science of alchemy? And do you remember Rumpelstiltskin spinning gold out of straw?
Yes.
So
Yes.
my perspective, and it's very strong, is that you can't get something for nothing.
Yeah.
And the United States has forced all of its industrial work offshore. So everything that is dirty, solar panels, windmills, batteries, lithium batteries, all of it is being produced offshore. And I would suggest to you that if you turn on YouTube and look at any of those factories that are making anything from auto parts to our green energy are dirty.
Yeah.
They're so dirty that I believe we have net zero gain from air quality to energy produced. And I do not think this green movement of free energy, whether it's from solar, wind power, or storing in batteries, has any benefit for mankind.
It's
in
not
fact,
so green, is it?
No.
Are you
Green
going to,
isn't.
Mary, I
Green
want to,
energy is.
I agree with you. Green energy isn't. And I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I want to make sure we've only got about 20 minutes and 25 minutes. I want to make sure that our guest here, Tonya Rivera, gets all the information out that she wants to get out. Are you, Mary, are you going to...
Move along.
Okay, are you able to go to neveragainmosslanding.org?
Yes, I've seen it today. I loved posting it for you. So
okay,
I hope everybody gets the word out there.
Thank you.
And we need to challenge what this state is doing in terms of the pipe dream of green energy, doing mandates without any science, and actually performing alchemy and spinning gold out of straw.
Yes. Tonya, do you want to respond directly to Mary before she goes?
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. We need to find a way not to poison us with what they're telling us needs to be done.
Yeah.
We cannot be their guinea pigs. But I encourage you to go to your doctor and get tested now.
Yes.
For the heavy metals. But please go onto our website, and you can log your symptoms on there too. The more that we have, the more ammunition we have against them.
Yeah.
Yes. And furthermore, I do not want to be a part of the community that trusts our government to tell us what is okay. Because frankly, there are too many circumstances where they just don't know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
And if they think they can convince us that we can spin gold out of straw, they're talking to the wrong person in me.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very
Bye-bye.
much. Thank you, Mary. Thank you for your good work and calm. All right. Wow. I'm hearing that a lot, Tonya, out there, that the green energy is not really that green. So,
well, we were told only the good things about it.
Yeah.
And when those that we trust to keep us safe, which would be the government at this point here, when we find out that didn't happen, what part of green is good for us at this point? Nothing.
You know, it was interesting. I listened in on the September 21st Monterey County Board of Supervisors special board meeting. They got together very quickly. I think Santa Cruz County Board of Supervisors should also have done that. But people were talking about, as did Nina Beatty, that now Board Supervisor Daniels was on the Planning Commission when this appeal for the project, Vista Project, came up. And she said at this September 21st meeting, January 21st meeting, I'm sorry, that at that hearing, nobody mentioned the danger of fire. And it was only wildly supported by the green environmental community like Sierra Club. Nobody mentioned fire risk. That was amazing to me. So as you say,
also,
sorry?
It is amazing to me also. And remember that what was going on when this plant was allowed to start up,
right?
To come on, to build in. It was COVID.
Yeah.
None of us could go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
None of us could. Basically, we couldn't do anything. Mm-hmm. We didn't even hear about that this was happening until it happened.
Yeah, that was the issue that came up a lot at that wonderful meeting that you called right away on January 20th at the Prunedale Grange that brought in over 200 people together.
In no time flat.
Yeah.
So it just showed you that there was so much concern about what had happened. And again, yes, it's only been a week and a half, but in that week and a half, what we have been able to do, what we've been able to push the government, the county to do in testing is phenomenal.
Yeah.
That when you get your community behind these things, you're going to get so much done. You were asking me to tell about what we did for testing, and since we had only been getting information about air testing, and that wasn't doing us any good because it didn't tell, don't worry about it, just stay in your house.
Let me interrupt you again because I listened to the Vistra representative at Tuesday's Santa Cruz County Board of Supervisor meeting. He was on remotely. That is one smooth guy, let me tell you. And it was only Supervisor Manu Koenig who said, please confirm, you're telling me there was no testing for metals for 4 or 5 days during or after the fire? And the Vistra man threw a bunch of words out, but basically said that's right. No metal testing at all. So you guys jumped on it.
They have still done no metal testing, Vistra themselves.
Yes. Yeah.
So what we did, and you were a part of, thank you very much, was got test kits to do what's called surface testing. It's not ground testing or water testing. Ground and water testing are much more expensive than surface testing, and we wanted to surface test for heavy metals. So a bioengineer from the peninsula over here got in touch with us, and he taught us how to teach the community how to take these samples and then record them, make sure that we got them back to us with the chain of custody correct and whatnot, and then we were able to send them off. But in one weekend, because of the community and people like you, we were able to collect almost 140 samples, surface samples,
nice,
from both counties, all the way from Scotts Valley, here, everywhere around the plant here, all the way down to Gonzales.
Excellent.
And they have been sent out. They were sent out the Monday after we collected them last weekend, and we should get the results back the beginning of next week.
Wow.
Those results were the first testing. I mean, those tests were the first testings for heavy metals done by anyone.
Isn't that amazing?
This was just a group of people that got together and started screaming.
Yeah.
Will you help? Will you help? Yes, we'll help. We'll do anything that is going to help us find out what's going on. Mm-hmm. And all of those test results, when we get them collated and everything, are going to be, again, up on our website. Our website is going to have so much information. We do encourage people to give us information on that website also.
Mm-hmm. Give us that website address one more time. So if people who've just joined us, this is Community Matters. Welcome. I'm speaking with Tonya Rivera from Never Again Moss Landing, the grassroots group who is demanding answers and information regarding the Vistra Moss Landing battery fire. So give us your website information again, Tonya, please.
NeverAgainMossLanding.org.
Thank you. And how can we get involved? What's next?
Well, where the amount of digging into finding out how this happened, why it happened, who let this fly under the rug, those kind of things. We need the community, people that know how to dig into things. Maybe there's someone that works for the government and they know what's going on. We just need as much information at this point. We need a lot of administrative help on the website now because of the sheer amount of information that we have. And again, we just set the website up, so it's just getting going.
And it's really nice. It's a very nice website.
Thank you. If anybody wants to help us do anything, getting a hold of the media, we would love to have a person that would just figure out all the media. And I don't mean just right here. I mean the media from all of California, all of the United States. You want to go even further. I get phone calls regularly from people all over the world that how they got a hold of me, I have no idea. But they've got the same problems there. Everything was pushed as green, green, green. But we need to get a hold of our legislators here where we are to make sure that Watsonville doesn't happen. Aptos doesn't happen. Dominican doesn't happen.
Yeah.
We need to help those people in Moss Landing to make sure that it doesn't happen in Moss Landing. Because if it happened here, it can happen anywhere.
Yeah. And there's still, that Moss Landing site is still there. There's still units waiting to be turned on again.
And Nipomo is due to go online any day.
Nipomo.
I don't know. Most people don't know where Nipomo is. It's on Highway 101, right maybe 20 miles north of Santa Maria. So it's not one that's on the ocean, but it's another one in California.
Yeah. Last week my guest was Barry Brennan from the Citizens for Estero Bay Preservation in Morro Bay. I hope you're in contact with that group too.
Oh yes, we are.
Excellent.
They've been pushing to make sure that is not allowed to happen down there. They've been working on this for a long time.
Yeah.
They have a lot of information that they have shared with us.
Excellent.
It's a community all over the United States, and again, through the world, that are banding together. This is the information we dug up. This is the information we got. This is what we have here from these scientists. This is what we have from these people. And we're sharing it amongst all of us.
Mm-hmm.
This is not just our fight. This is everybody's fight.
Exactly. So contacting elected officials is certainly first and foremost after people sign up to help on with your group, and that can be done from anywhere in the world. People who care about this tragedy that has been allowed to happen in Morro Bay, in Moss Landing, in the harbor, and affecting a plume of smoke, affecting 2 counties, and residents not being given any information, no metal testing. And still in Santa Cruz County, I could not believe the resistance that some of the Board of Supervisors had to Supervisor Koenig asking that the Ag Commissioner or someone test for metals on crops and soils in the Pajaro Valley. The others were worried about how much it was going to cost and who was going to pay for it, and they didn't want to do it until that was hammered out. My goodness, what are they thinking?
Well, they're putting a price on people's lives.
Yeah.
And that's more important to them than a person's life.
Yeah.
That's a big problem.
And in the meantime, I'm seeing farm workers barehanded out working in the plastic-covered furrows of strawberries in the Pajaro Valley. Did anybody tell them about this? Did anybody warn them to maybe wear gloves, to wash their hands well before they eat, before they touch their eyes, their skin? What's happening with the farm worker community?
There is actually, I reached out to LULAC of Monterey County.
Thank you.
Last week, because I was very concerned about the Spanish-speaking community not having the same information that you and I have.
Yeah, which isn't much, but
yeah, but it's a lot more than they have.
Absolutely.
So it makes a big difference. And on Tuesday night, this coming Tuesday night, in Castroville, at the Japanese schoolhouse that's on Guile Street. I don't have the exact address. I'm sorry,
okay.
I don't have that with me.
Castroville's not very big.
True. They are having, LULAC is putting on a community meeting that we are going to be there as our group. Not just myself, but Brian. You've met Brian.
Yes.
Was there. The man's amazing.
Yes.
And Brian and myself will be there with translators.
Excellent.
So the entire meeting will be translated, the entire information. And then it will be filmed. We will put it up on our website. But getting the website information to those that don't speak English, that's another thing. But at least it's a start.
It is a start. Yeah.
And LULAC has been reaching out to the Spanish-speaking community already. But this is just going to be more information for them. They have been reaching out.
Good.
I would love for LULAC Santa Cruz County to do the same.
Yes. I've been copying Dr. Ann Lopez with the Center for Farm Worker Families in Santa Cruz County on things. I copy her. She hasn't responded directly, but I've demanded that my county supervisor hold a town hall meeting and invite the Center for Farm Worker Families to come and include the farm workers in that town hall meeting. She doesn't want to do that. She wants to meet me for breakfast. I said, no.
Not near the plant. No, I'm kidding.
That's not the point. The point is to bring people together and do your job and get information. And with the exception of Supervisor Manu Koenig, the others are saying they want to help, but they're not willing to take quick action. And that's the issue. This is time-sensitive action, isn't it?
That's why we didn't want to wait for anybody to start the testing.
Yeah.
We couldn't do it. We needed to know. We needed to know for the community. So we did it. And if we can do that as a community, the government should be able to figure out something.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And no, that I know that the gentleman in Pacific Grove that kind of helped get these testing arrangements made got a deal, but it's still a lot of money, like $7,000 or something to get this testing done. How do we give you a financial donation to help support all that, Tonya?
On the website, the QR code probably isn't up yet. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's coming. Okay, so it's coming. A donate now button.
Yeah, it will be on there.
Good. Because maybe people don't have time or anything, but they might have a little bit of extra money that they want to give you to support the work that has to be done and is only being done in many respects by you and the grassroots effort, Never Again Moss Landing.
We appreciate any help we can get, whether it's helping with getting the information out there, getting the information that we need, or monetarily to help allay the costs that we have.
Thank you.
That would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, because you folks just said, all right, we're just going to write the check. When I took my samples in, Brian said, yeah, I'm going to write a check for $1,000. That's my part. And I gave a very nominal donation, but it's all of us. It's all of us.
You gave a very nice donation.
Well, I wish it could have been more. But, here's the piece that I'm a little worried about, that the county officials, and we've only got a minute, Tonya, the county officials are already, as Nina said, trying to debunk the very good science just released by Moss Landing Marine Lab, a decade of baseline soil metal level, and they're seeing 100 to 1,000 time increase in these metals in the slough soils up to 2 miles away.
Yes.
And they're trying to debunk that. So we have to be prepared for that. But in our last 30 seconds, Tonya, the floor is yours, and I want to thank you for your good work.
I want to thank you for letting me come on. And you've heard me several times now, Becky. I'm not a public speaker, but I have a passion.
Thank you.
This needs to be. We need to get to the bottom of this and make sure that it does not happen.
Never again, Moss Landing.
Else again.
Exactly. All right. I think we are off the air now, Tonya. It changes very abruptly to a recorded news break. So we are both off the air, and I just want to again thank you for your good work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I couldn't figure out. I was on a different phone, and I don't know what my phone was doing. I'm sorry about that.
Well, you know what happened? I think it was my fault because it was getting close to the time we were going to go on the air, and I tried a new piece that I learned where I can call the people. So that was pretty snazzy, but I think I caused your phone to want to record something. So that's my fault, and I apologize.
No, it's all good, and it's over with. But, thank you for letting us come on and talk. And this was very good information from Nina too. I need to get in touch with her.
Yes. Do you? What's the best way to? I can connect you via email. Or she may connect herself to that. But how can I make sure that you and Nina Beatty connect? Do you have an email?
I can give you my email.
Yeah. Yes, please.
I will text it to you. Now your cell phone. Wait a minute.
I don't have a cell phone. You're going to just have to tell me.
Or I can email it to your email.
Oh, there you go. I'll give you my email.
I think I have it, KI6CKB.
Yes, you do, because of the soil work. Yeah, good, Tonya. Gee, you're a whiz. You're wonderful. A wizard. A wizard.
No, actually, I'm a witch. So,
no, a whiz.
No, I'm a good witch. I am a witch.
Ah, yes, there are good witches.
I practice witchery. So.
Oh, wonderful. Oh, thank you.
Being a witch is all it is being one with nature.
Yes. So, the Druids had it right, didn't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what's interesting is everything's coming back to the Druids.
Yeah.
Everything's coming back to, wow, they knew what they were doing. Yeah. Wow, they had it right. Wow. Yeah. You know, and it's just like, yeah, we knew that.
Yeah. And what kind of, I'm a little sensitive to the energies. I live in the woods, and I pick up on energies, and during the fire there was this horrible smell in the woods. I live next to the Forest of Nicene Mark State Park, and there was this horrible smell, and there was a real sense of unease and agitation that I sensed in the woods. What about you?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
When things get out of whack, it's going to affect you. It's the air changes. I'm not talking about the smell in the air. That's not it. The air changes, and the ground, which includes the plants and everything, they're fighting against anything that shouldn't be there, just like your body fights against the cold.
Yeah.
That it fights against what shouldn't be there. The earth and the plants immediately start the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Tonya, my next guest is on. Do you want to say hello to her? She used to live in Aptos. She left the state. She couldn't stand California politics anymore. Do you want to hop off, or do you want to say hello? I'm going to bring her on.
I think I'm going to have to get off.
Okay.
I've been away from my work for a while.
Thank you so very much for your time and all that you're doing. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Take care. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Hello, Kris. Can you hear me?
I can. How are you, Becky?
Oh, hello. I am well, as well as I am when I'm here in the studio and it's a little crazy, but I'm doing well. How was your day?
Good.
Good.
Thank you. How about you?
Oh, it's been an interesting morning. Let's see, what did I do? I went into the county building and had some work with the grand jury that I'm on, and now I'm here.
All right.
So, yeah. We have about 45 seconds before we go on. Do you want to tell me anything in particular you want to make sure that we cover?
We'll just chat about stuff going on up here.
I think that sounds really good. I don't know, did you get an opportunity to see the email I put out about today's program?
I did.
Okay, great.
I did.
Great. I'm sure people are going to be very interested in knowing more about what it is like to pull up stakes and move, and everything involved.
All right.
So,
well, we will talk about that.
Well, thank you. And if you have any information on insurance, all right, we've got about 5 seconds to go.
Okay.
All right. Welcome back to Community Matters. This is Becky Steinbrunner, and thank you for staying on with us for the second hour. We have a great guest the second hour as well, having the first hour been Ms. Tonya Rivera, the mover and shaker in Moss Landing, Prunedale, organizing her community with neveragainmosslanding.org around the tragedy that has happened after the Vistra battery fire, and how quiet the officials are, and nobody has much information. So they're moving ahead as a community and working to talk with officials. I urge you to contact your local and state representatives, elected officials, and demand that there is an independent investigation and that the results are given publicly and quickly to the people, and that town hall meetings get held. I'm grateful to Tonya for pulling together with LULAC to get this information to the farm workers, and so that they know as much as anybody else knows at this point. So let's move on now. I want to welcome my wonderful second guest and friend, Kris Kirby. Kris is a longtime resident of Santa Cruz County, and recently said, that's enough. I'm moving out of the state, and relocated in Grants Pass, Oregon. She also was a former host of a program here on Santa Cruz Voice, and that was The Elephant in the Room, and brought a lot of wonderful information to people. So Kris, I am very honored and delighted to have you as our guest today. And can people call in and ask you questions?
Oh, of course. Hi, Becky. So good to talk with you. I miss a lot of my friends. That's probably about all I really miss. But you're on the top of the list.
Oh, bless your heart. Thank you. Well, if people want to call in and talk with you, I got a lot of comments when you were on the program about a month ago saying, I'm thinking of that. I want to hear what she has to say. And at that point, you were on with Kristen Kolashaw, who didn't quite pull her feet all the way out of the water to move, but you did.
She hasn't yet. They will eventually.
They will, yes. So I really want to make sure that people have the opportunity to ask you questions and comments and things. So anybody out there, feel free to call in 831-265-5050. Again, 265-5050. Call in and join the conversation and find out, what is it like to pull up stakes when you've lived in a place for decades and move to a new spot. So Kris, what why don't you, for people who didn't hear your first program with us here, explain to us what you did and how it went.
Okay, well, yeah, we lived in Aptos for 27 years, raised my 4 boys there, had a business there, and my husband worked in Salinas and commuted every day. We had been looking for the last 2-3 years, mostly up in Oregon. We were thinking about Montana, but we haven't been there yet. My son, one of them lives in Texas, and we thought about Austin, but it's too humid there. I mean, and I have not been back to Tennessee or any of those places that a lot of people have moved to, just because we didn't want to do the humidity or the bugs, or I didn't want to be that far away. So my father-in-law lives up here in Grants Pass. We were originally thinking about Bend and Sisters, because I really like Bend, but Bend in the last, I have a longtime friend that lives there, and we visit once in a while, and it has changed so much. There's traffic. I would say traffic is one of the biggest things I'm so happy to be away from. Mm-hmm. But Bend has gotten very expensive. The traffic, you can't just walk into a restaurant really anymore. You have to have reservations, because there's so many people have moved there. Because it is an awesome place. The Deschutes River is there. The Deschutes Brewery we love. Mark wanted to get a job there as a beer guy. He says, "I'll even do it for free." I love that place. But we had been looking at houses, and the prices just kept going up and up and up. And then we came to see his dad in Grants Pass, and we looked at a few houses here, and they were okay. And then on the last day we were here, like mid-August, or maybe beginning of August, we looked at one house, and usually Mark will say, "I don't like this, I don't like that." And I said, "Well, okay, what don't you like about this property?" And he said, "Nothing. I love it." So before we even drove home that day, they had accepted our offer.
Oh, my goodness.
So, I know. I mean, you were talking to me when it was going on, and it was like, oh, my God, are we really doing this? And, you know, that ride home was pretty intense. We felt good. We felt like it was the right thing to do. But moving your life after 27 years in one house, one place, it was
daunting.
a little, yes. So all of our kids had moved out of the house, but we still had a big house that we had to go through and clean and, you know, get rid of stuff. And then I also had my business to do the same, and I sold it. Like the week we moved, it sold. Probably could have gotten more, but it was just nice that I was done. Moving, I called around and got pods who they were wonderful. They did everything they said they were going to do. Dropped one off. We filled it as full as you can possibly fill. You have to use like straps to strap stuff, and it's from top to bottom packed. They came and got that one. Then they brought us another one. We did the same thing, and I think September 18th was our close of escrow up here, and we came up here. They delivered one the next day. We unloaded it, and then as soon as that one was unloaded, they came and took it and brought the other one. They were wonderful. It was probably, I don't know, like $6,500 for them to drop off and then come get them and then bring them up here. And I don't know if that's expensive or cheap, but it was just the best way to go for us at our speed, I guess.
Yeah, and you don't have to worry about driving a big moving van up.
Right.
You know?
Well, you know, sometimes when you're out and traveling, you see a big flatbed with 3 or 4 pods on it. Well, that's what they're doing, is staging them to where they want them to go. So it was an interesting process. But the guys were all great. I mean, they did exactly what they said. We did not have one problem. I will say that my one of our tables, the base did break, but that wasn't because of them. That was because we packed it wrong. But it's not a big deal. It wasn't like some family heirloom, so not a big deal. So we got up. So yeah, we had a 45-day close, and it was a quick 45 days. Mark originally was going to just leave his job, but his boss said, "No way, I can't do without you." So he's still working remotely, which is good because we've learned how to spend money really well up here.
Yeah.
I mean, we bought a tract. So our property is almost 7 acres. It's on the Rogue River. It's amazing. We came up when the weather was still really nice, and then there was leaf season, and we have a good 2 acres of grass, of lawn area. And Mark originally was going to get a ride-on mower and mow it, but since he's working every day, we kept the gardener guys on. But leaf season is a thing up here. I have never experienced. I mean, it was beautiful, but just to get the leaves off of everything for, I don't know, a good 2 months, that was interesting. So
can I back up a little bit? Because I think to me, the most daunting thing would be the cleaning out the house.
Oh.
How do you decide what to keep and what to give away, what to haul to the dump? How did you do that?
That was not easy. I mean, I raised 4 kids in this house, and when we had bedrooms, we just closed the doors, so I had a lot of stuff. Every day, I only used the Goodwill because it was easy and convenient. I probably shouldn't have used them. And I did not do a garage sale. If I'd had the time, I would have. But at that point, I was like, I don't care, whatever.
Garage sales are a lot of work, too.
Yeah, they are. And then, that was a Saturday, and we would have lost all of our packing time. I mean, we had a lot of work to do.
In a short amount of time.
Yeah, and, stuff, it's just stuff. But trust me, we brought plenty of stuff with us because we also bought a 16-foot enclosed trailer that we did how many trips? 3 trips? 3 different trips. Mark, the day we moved up here, we had filled it. He brought it up. And we had 2 safes that had to go in this thing. That was
my
really
goodness.
a lot of fun.
Safe as in, oh gosh, those guys are heavy.
Yeah, that was the whole thing. And then he went back down and got another a load of stuff, like, all that. Those last couple trips are just the worst. And then plants and all the garden tools and all that stuff out of the garage. And, Amy Jeske was our realtor with Caldwell Banker, and she was brilliant. We didn't list our house till after we were out of it, and then we did some work. But her husband was our savior, because we couldn't do it all. It was just Mark and I. Wow. And we could not do it all. So he actually took a lot of stuff to the dump for us, and he really helped us.
Wow. That's wonderful.
So we fixed up the house after we left, redid the floors, they painted the whole thing, and they, changed some things out. And then we listed it, and it sold within 7 days for cash, which was, I know. And, higher than we were asking.
Higher than you were asking for cash.
Kind of our strategy.
Wow.
Huh?
For cash.
Well, they were a family. We never met them. All I know is their names. From Tech Money, and they still haven't even moved into the house. They ripped out all of our bathrooms and probably our kitchen, are redoing it all.
Wow.
So they've got obviously have more money than most.
So there's the balance. Do you invest the money to do a lot of upgrades to make it look better, or do you just kind of go with the market and figure they're going to change it so much anyway?
We didn't know. So we fixed it. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was really, Amy and her team really did a great job. Caldwell Banker will, and we didn't do this, but Caldwell Banker will loan you the money and fix your house up, and then when it sells for more, because when it looks nice, it will sell faster and for more, and then you just pay them back. I think it's no interest.
Wow.
And we staged our house. This blew me away. The staging was $8,500 in itself. But granted, it's a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath house. So it was a big house, and the deck in the backyard and all that. But I was shocked that was so much. But everyone says you do that, and you're going to get more money because people can envision how nice it'll look. So I don't know. That was an interesting thing.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? So I'm glad we did that. I feel. I don't know if investing all the money in the floors and everything was the right thing to do, but we did it. One of my sons is selling his house. He's going to list it on the 7th at Aptos, and he's going to move up here.
Oh.
And he's not, Matt, he's not going to do all that. He's just going to sell it as is.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm sure there's pros and cons to both sides, but that's what we chose to do. Amy was great.
That's a good plug for Caldwell Banker and Amy, the agent there.
Yeah, they did a great job. I have no complaint. And trust me, with my sign business, I did a lot of realtor signs. And when people heard I was selling our house, I was, getting the plug. I'm like, I know, but I've known Amy for 25 years, and we're just going to go with her. She's so on top of things. She was great. But it was hard to pick.
Yeah. That's a challenge, finding the right person.
Yeah, but everybody thinks that they're the right person, and then you just have to kind of go with your gut.
Yeah, indeed. So is there anything you would have done differently on this side of the table now? What would you have done differently?
Mark's sitting here listening. Is there anything? I think we did it good. So Becky knows I hate Soquel Creek water more than they're at the top of my dislike very much list, and it was so great to call them and tell them to cram it. This is our last bill. We're done with them. And some young girl on the phone. She's just like, oh, whatever your problem is. It was kind of funny, but man, did that feel good.
Probably she had more than you tell him that day. I'll bet that did feel good.
Yeah, I don't know if she wanted to hear my story, but no, I don't know if we would have done anything differently.
That's good information.
Yeah. Pods was great, and I have zero regrets for moving, other than I do miss my friends. But in the first couple months, you're kind of like, oh, I don't really have any friends here. But I have put myself out there with the Republican committee, and I've got all of a sudden I'm helping them a lot, and I have a whole group of friends. I mean, we went to a meeting last night everybody got this letter from the state of Oregon about the fire, same garbage that's going on in California and everywhere else.
Fire insurance? It's about fire insurance?
Fire, you have to make your property fire resistant, I guess. And I mean, a lot of people live up in the mountains here they're mountain folk kind of people.
Yeah.
And these people came out of the mountains last night for this meeting, and the state is really, that's a whole other thing, but they're really trying to screw people over with their insurance getting canceled and getting raised. Our fire insurance so our house is on the Rogue River. It was built in 2002, and it's FEMA approved, so you have to come up at least 10 stairs to get into our house at every doorway, because it's all empty underneath in case the river overflows.
Mm-hmm.
But it would really have to come up far for it to affect us. It did come up New Year's Eve day or that weekend, and it came up probably 14 feet, but it did not get anywhere near close to our house.
Uh-huh.
So we're in a flood zone, and we do have a lot of trees, but they're not like and our roof is cement tiles, and the siding on the house is cement siding. So I don't think our house would burn.
Wow,
but
that's
they say we're
great.
in an extreme area. Yeah, I didn't realize that when we bought this place, that it was actually built as well as it is.
Yeah. Wonderful.
So
have you heard from your insurance company?
Not. I know our insurance is about $5,000 or maybe more a year here, and they rated that if it's more than it was down there. But they rated it because some people who've listened to me for years know that we owned a fourplex in Chico, and I had squatters like 3 years ago, and they completely trashed one of our apartments. It was about a $40,000 loss. Well, that was we were penalized because of that.
Oh,
because we had such a big loss. And I said, that's not where we lived. We had no control over that. In fact, I minimized the damage, I thought. But yeah, they penalized us for that.
Oh, wow.
These insurance companies, I mean, it's really, I actually was an insurance agent when I was 21 to about 28 and with farmers, and man, have things changed. So
But
yeah, we were penalized.
That's pretty, I think, par for the course. People who had any, well, in fact, it happened to Central Fire District here in Santa Cruz County. They had one claim for an engine that they were doing a rescue down a couple of winters ago when the surf was so high, and their engine got hit with salt water and destroyed it. That was a claim. The insurance company canceled Central Fire District. So they had to go out and shop for new insurance. Yeah. That's the deal. You pay for those things, those disasters, and that's what they're supposed to do, is make it good. But that's not how they see it, is it?
No. Well, so a couple of weeks ago, I was driving down our road, middle of the day, and something jumped out in front of my car, hit the front right corner, and jumped back.
Oh, gosh.
And I didn't even see it. I mean, literally, and I got to where I was going, and I got out of the car, and I went, oh, my God, this is a lot of damage. So I came home, and we realized I hit a deer had jumped out in front of my car.
Oh, I was going to say Bigfoot.
Well, Mark first said, yeah, Mark says it could have been, but Mark says, you hit a dog. I'm like, I didn't hit a dog. I know I didn't hit a dog. And then we realized it was a deer. So now I'm going to have this claim because I'm waiting to get it fixed because it's a lot of damage.
Oh,
I've never
dear.
hit a deer before.
Well, I'm glad it didn't hit the windshield. That could have been really bad.
Or I guess the headlights that whole thing is expensive. So it's $2,400 worth of damage. So then New Year's Eve, we live on a road that has a turn in front of our house. New Year's Eve, all of a sudden our electricity goes out, but not on the whole property. And we go out, and some guy had missed the turn and took out our whole front fence.
Oh.
It turns out he was high as a kite on pain meds. He said he fell asleep, but I don't think so. And thankfully, so we're out there, it's raining, and he couldn't go anywhere. He tried to. I guess he tried to back out of it, but he couldn't. So thankfully he had insurance, and his insurance paid to fix our fence.
Oh, good. So you didn't have to put in a claim. That's good.
No, but yeah, Mark says it probably will still show up. Who knows?
So
anyway,
insurance is maybe higher, but maybe related to a past claim that you made with your company. What about property taxes?
I think they're less than our house there. So yeah, less for that. So we have electric is probably about the same. Oh man, Mark says maybe a little bit less. We have a well, so we don't have to pay for water. We do have a ditch. There's ditch water and well water, and the ditch that's turned off during the winter, you have to pay, I don't know, $140 a year or something to have be able to use the ditch water, and it waters a lot of our lawns. Yeah, I had no idea what it was before.
That's interesting that you have, because in California, properties that are next to a perennial, especially a perennial water stream, you have riparian water rights that are granted with your property. California has changed that, so if you don't use it, you lose it. And it's interesting for me to hear that in Oregon you have to pay to use it.
Well, I think it's to pay for like the pump down the road.
Oh.
The pump. Yeah, I don't know. Mark knows more about that, but the previous owner was really good about explaining that to Mark because we had no idea.
So you pay for the. Is there a local water district? Is that how it works?
No, it's irrigation.
Irrigation district?
An irrigation group, yeah. And there's these little canals all over the place. I found a gal that does my hair out of the back. She has a house behind a house, and she lives in a normal neighborhood, and she's got a ditch in front of her house, and she says, oh, yeah, that's how I water all my lawns, and it's just a whole different way of watering lawn.
So do they put they put water in the ditches in the summer?
Well, I think because the river is here, I think it pumps water out of the river into the ditch, and then it just wanders all the way down where it's supposed to go, and people just pull out the water where they want to. There's across the street from us, and you would never know it, there's 3 beautiful red barns with 2 silos, and apparently it's a marijuana grow. I mean, you can't smell. It's really, apparently Johnny Depp owns it, is what we've been told, but I don't know.
Wow.
I know. But you don't smell, you don't see, there's no traffic in and out. It's very quiet, but they take water out of there too. So you mentioned you found a place to get your hair done. How about other medical professionals? How do you go? A lot of people, some of the people that I've talked with that are interested in moving out of California feel like they can't because they're doctors here and they've got to stay with their doctor. What about all that? Doctors, dentists, things like that. Well, next door is a huge resource. I'll put on there, like I needed a body shop because I had no idea. And people told me who to go to. We found a great car repair place by next door. The dentist, we both have been, and we both really like them. And man, is this place ultra new, and I was shocked at all their equipment. So Dr. Shively's great, but he is a little bit behind the times in all the new equipment. I was really surprised by that.
Mm-hmm.
So next door is a great resource. But for the hair thing, we were at Panda Express one night, and I saw these two young people with nice hair, and Mark's like, just go ask them. So I went up and asked one girl, and she's like, well, I live over in Brookings, which is over an hour away over at the coast, so that will do me no good. Then I went over and asked this other gal, and she's, oh, yeah, I'll gladly give you my person. So, and I've been going to her ever since.
Wow.
So,
you just have to ask.
Yeah, you have to ask. Doctors, kind of the same thing. We found a good chiropractor that way. Mark's dad lives here, and he's given us a couple names, but Mark, my friend Lisa, who I've known since kindergarten, lives here, and she's been a big resource, too.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no traffic in this town. I have zero regrets, really, other than I don't see, but, the phone works pretty well. And my friend Bob, who I've known through work for about 20 years, he and his girlfriend, we just spent a couple days with them. They didn't have to stay here, but we've had quite a few friends come up. I'm hoping you come up too, Becky.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that. It would be great to see you and Mark again and see your beautiful home. Yeah.
Well, it's funny because a friend of mine from high school passed away on Sunday.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, thanks. My friend Rick, who lives in Bend, I said we really should go to a service. So I might have to come back down there soon, but I'm almost regretting it because that traffic down there, the whole everything just really kind of freaks me out where it's so calm up here.
And there's no sales tax.
Oh, that's huge.
Mm-hmm.
That sales tax in California, everywhere else, is really penalized.
Yeah.
I mean, they're really gouging people for that.
Yeah.
The homeless, Grants Pass was involved in this homeless Supreme Court ruling last June where they can kick them out of the parks because I guess the parks were getting pretty ugly with them. So they put them in couple fenced areas, and we have a new city council and commissioners. Commissioners are kind of like supervisors, I guess. And I know them all. It's really bizarre how I've gotten to know these people already. They closed the fenced-in areas because it's muddy, it's rainy, and people are like, oh, poor these people. And I said, well, let them in your backyard. What's wrong? Everyone's with the bleeding hearts. I'm like, let them camp out in your backyard. And not other people were chiming in saying, that's a great idea. I'm like, if you want to help them, let them in your yard and see how that works out for you.
So where did they go?
Well, they're wandering around. There's some missions here. Mm-hmm. And there's like 80 or 90 nonprofits here that supposedly help them. But as we know, most of the nonprofits are just to pay their salaries, and they're not doing much with the money. Oh. So it's definitely an issue here, but there's only like 300 of them. There's not like thousands of them. We went into the Mission thrift store the other day because we're trying to find some frames. We're doing a Patriot conference in March, and one of the gals like, come with me and we'll go look for some stuff for these frames for these posters they have. And we started talking to the guys that work there, and one guy's going to come talk to the city council meeting, I think next week, about his road to recovery, and it was the mission and God and getting his life together. And he's been sober for 1.5 years. And,
nice.
And so there's paths to do it, and they have to want to do it, obviously.
Yes.
But it's kind of it's just different up here.
Mm-hmm.
So It's been interesting to watch that and learn about it.
And you have been very active politically here in Santa Cruz County. You put on a wonderful program here on Santa Cruz Voice, Elephant in the Room, which I understand they're still playing recordings of, Kris, because it was so good.
Bill wants us to come back. Yeah.
Oh, I think you should. Yeah, you could do that remotely.
I know. I'm thinking about doing a radio show. So the chairman up here named Polly, she and I'm like her assistant now, but things are really different here. So and I don't like when someone says, "Oh, I live on whatever street," I don't even know where the heck that is. So I told her I got to gradually work into this. I don't know the people, I don't know anything, so I'm learning every day for sure. But we've talked about doing a radio show here. I don't know. There's a lot of possibilities.
Is there a local public radio station there?
Yes, there's one in Medford called K-Med, and there's another one called K-Joe because we're in Josephine County, and they're all conservative. We went to this meeting for the fire map last night, and there were a good 1,000 people there. All
1,000 people?
Yeah. I know. We could never get that many people to anything in Santa Cruz.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. I'll send you a picture of it. It was amazing.
And was that in person or in person and hybrid?
No, it was all in person, and people came out. I mean, these people came. You can tell they came out of the mountains. They're all conservatives. Everywhere is wearing Trump stuff, and so I found my people. That is for sure.
I'm still just trying to imagine what that must have been like to have a public meeting and have 1,000 people show up. You know, my guest right before you, Tonya Rivera, called a public meeting at the Prunedale Grange in response to the battery fire. They got 200, and that was a big showing. You know? Yeah. Wow.
So this is at the fairgrounds, which are close in town, and it was a good showing. I mean, in fact, we went out to my car, and they had parked triple, and I was in the middle row, and I had to really weasel my way out to get out. It was interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a good meeting.
Wow. So what do you think has been, well, you've said that the thing you miss most are your friends, but you're making new friends. Right. Yeah. And what do you think is, what was the biggest cost? You know, people who maybe, what was the biggest financial outlay that you felt you needed to do and still feel good about doing it, but it was the biggest financial cost?
Well, probably the pods, but a lot of people that move, the company's moving them, and they pay a moving company to come pack up their stuff and then unpack it when they get to, and, that's $20,000, $30,000, it depends where you go, $20,000, $30,000. So we tried to do it on on a cheap budget, and the pods, it was still like $65 or more $100, but I guess that was a cheap thing. We did buy the trailer, the 16-foot trailer, and we can still resell that. We haven't really used. Actually, when Matt moves up here, Mark's going to drive down and pack all his stuff in it, and we could sell it if we want.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's for people that don't have a lot of money. I guess you just get rid of all your stuff. You sell it all, and you maybe buy stuff when you move.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really have the time to do that, so and all of our furniture worked out perfect where we are, and it just kind of worked.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Was there anything you brought you wish you would have just sent to Goodwill, or anything that you wish you would have kept in retrospect?
We have a 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartment above the garage that is empty, and a few people have stayed in it when they come. Mm-hmm. Matt with his dog, it's just worked out good. And we brought our old family room couch, and we tried to it's in 2 pieces, and Mark and I tried to take it up these stairs. struggle. We brought it back down. I put it on Marketplace. It was gone within an hour. It's like, all right, we're not doing that. So we're not sure what we're going to do. We'll get a smaller couch for up there. It was a pretty big couch.
Yeah, I heard earlier you found a good chiropractor too.
Yeah. I got to tell you this one story. So we go to Home Depot a lot, and one day this guy comes up and says, "John," to Mark, and says, "John," and Mark's like, "No, my name's Mark," and he says, "No, it's John." He's like, "No." So then he says, "You look exactly like my friend John." And we said, "Oh, that's nice. Well, hopefully we'll meet John someday." So then we were at a restaurant last week, and this guy comes up and says, "I'm sorry I took your picture," which of course we didn't even notice. And he says, "I had to send it to," and I looked at him, I said, "His name's John, right?" And he's like, "How did you know?" We said, "Because we've heard he looks just like a guy named John." So he says, "Well, I'll give you his contact info and you need to message him." So I did. And are you still there?
I am.
Oh, sorry, I put something on my phone. So then John messaged me back and said, "Here's my phone number. You need, call me." So we went over last Saturday and met this guy, and he and Mark, I sent you the picture, right?
Yes, you did, and it was shocking. They look like almost identical twins.
Twins. So last night we're at the meeting, and of course I said, "I bet you," because he kind of lives in a little tree, up a road that's kind of not mountainy, but kind of, and he sat right behind us, and people were like, "Is that your brother?" Like, no. There's no blood connection. They look identical.
Wow, it is amazing.
So he makes amazing wood bowls, and he's very, very talented. So he posted on his Facebook page the picture. I posted it on mine, and someone's like, "Oh, we just went to this beer place tonight." It was right after we met him, and he says, "I just saw the guy and thought it was you." So he says, "Well, he got the brains, I got the talent," because he's a very incredible woodworking artist. And Mark's a CPA and good with all that stuff, so it was just funny.
Had John been alerted that his doppelganger was in town?
No. And when the guy took the picture.
Uh-huh.
So he said last night when we saw him, he said, I'm going to give you one of my John Harden design shirts, and we'll both be wearing the same shirt, and we can both stand with the same pose, and we'll see if anybody can tell us apart. Weirdest thing ever.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
We left their house last Saturday. I said, "Well, we have new friends." We're like, I'm kicking off, new friend, yay.
Oh my goodness.
It has been weird leaving where we knew a lot of people. You know? That has been weird. I mean, we'll go places and I'm like, "Well, we don't know anybody here at all." And usually we don't know anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, I have a feeling that's not going to be the case for very long.
Yeah. Well, the numbers are climbing, that's for sure.
That's wonderful. If you're just tuning in to Community Matters, welcome. My guest here today is Miss Kris Kirby, former resident of Santa Cruz County, Aptos, former owner of Sine Wave business in Aptos, and she and her husband Mark pulled up stakes and moved to Grants Pass, Oregon. So we're hoping to have Kris here as a regular guest. If you have any questions, many people are thinking of moving out of California. A recent survey said it's a high percentage of people in California thinking of moving out for various reasons. The high cost is one. The traffic is definitely there, isn't it, Kris? And
yeah.
and just looking for something different that might fit their budget and fit their lifestyles. So feel free to call in and join the conversation, 831-265-5050. Again, that's 265-5050. This is Community Matters, and I want to just take a moment here and thank Satellite Work and Digital Media Center for their wonderful place in the community here, where our studio is here along with community television. You can be here too. The first Friday of every month, that's going to be next Friday when we're here. It's free for anybody that wants to come in and check them out and use the facility for remote work, meetings, whatever. You can rent it by the hour, by the day. They have audio-visual equipment you can train with, check out, and go do things. You can make a podcast here for your business. So come check out Satellite Work and Digital Media Center. It's at 325 Soquel Avenue in Santa Cruz, and that's between Ocean Street and the beautiful San Lorenzo River. And we want to thank them for hosting us here, our studio, Santa Cruz Voice. So, Kris, thank you again for being my guest here today. And what, if anything, do you want to tell the listeners if they're thinking about, gee, I love being by the ocean. I don't know if I could handle not being by the ocean. I don't know if some people like you are multi-generation Californians. What do you tell those people?
Well, definitely go see and study where you want to go. I mean, obviously the United States is a big place and you'll never find exactly the right place. For us, the ocean's about an hour away. We drove to Crescent City once when Mark had a class reunion in Ukiah, and we saw it. So it's not that far away, but we have not spent any time. We have not gone over there. We plan on going camping quite a bit this summer, at least once a month like we were doing before, and just adventuring and learning this new state. Mm-hmm. Eugene is where the big next big airport is, but there's also one in Medford. In fact, my son Matt just flew in today. He landed at 2:00. Mark went and picked him up. It's half an hour away.
Oh, nice.
So, he's going to move up here, which I'm happy about.
Yeah.
I don't know. You just have to go and feel it out. This place is so much better than I expected. I don't know if anybody from Aptos remembers the twin, Gary and Wes, who were umpires for the Little League there. And I mean, they're an Aptos figure for sure. But one of them moved up here because I guess their kids live here. And I haven't run into him yet, but I'm looking forward to that. Mm-hmm. I don't know. You just have to. It just kind of felt right, and it was the house here. We bought an amazing house. So, in California, money goes far here. I will say that. Mm-hmm. It just. I don't know. We just had to jump. I mean, sure, it was scary. Sure, it was. You think. I mean, we would lay down in bed and go, "Are we doing the right thing every day?" Mm-hmm. But Mark says more than that. What? Yeah, it's hard work. I mean, it's hard work. It's the whole thing, but I'm very happy we did it. Mm-hmm. I miss Joseph. I don't miss that traffic. I mean, people are sitting in that traffic for an hour and a half one way from Aptos to Santa Cruz sometimes.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
I'm in Santa Cruz. I'm going to be heading for Aptos in rush hour traffic. It will probably take me an hour to get home. Yeah,
that's nuts. Isn't there more to life than that? I think so. And I think, especially Santa Cruz, I think they're really screwing people over by all that work and what's going on. Yeah, maybe. I mean, by the time it's done, it's probably going to be outdated. I don't know. What I looked at was, I'm 65 years old. In 20 years, is California going to get their act together in 20 years? I mean, if I live to be 85, And I said, no, it won't. So I said, all right, we're out of here. I just couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And I was born and raised in San Jose and Saratoga. I mean, I've lived there all my life.
Mm-hmm.
I just couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah. And you worked really hard here locally to make a difference. And I want to thank you for that. I want to thank you for that.
Becky, I know I've talked to you and Dave about possibly moving someday, and I mean, you're even more entrenched than I was, and it's a hard thing to do, and yes, you miss a lot of stuff, but there's other stuff going on here, so I've just kind of put my sights on other stuff.
Mm-hmm. Good.
I don't know.
And now Mark is still working remotely. Maybe people out there are wondering if they could do that too. And what do you recommend for that? Have any thoughts about people who would want to transfer their jobs, their businesses?
So the workforce up here, yeah, we have a lovely office that he's set up, and he works remotely. He's only come down there once for work. We thought he would be doing it once a month, but he doesn't even need to do that. He did have to go to Zero once for right before Christmas, but that was easy because you can fly in and out of Medford, so that was easy. But the job market is different up here. We drove through a town called White City, which is kind of funny, but it's very industrial. So my son Matt, I mean, he'll be able to pay cash for a house up here, so he doesn't have to make big money up here. He could make $60,000 a year and live just fine. He's not married or has any kids, so that's what he's going to look to do.
Wow.
It's very blue collar here, and which I like.
Yeah.
I don't know. You don't see many Teslas at all. I see a Cybertruck every once in a while, and I think it's the same guy. But there's not like tons of money floating around, which it's just normal, hard-working people, and I like that.
Yeah. You've told me that people are much more friendly.
Oh, kind.
Mm-hmm.
Just, yeah, everywhere we go, everybody is so nice.
Nice.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. Everybody's just normal. Kids, you see kids, not where we live because we're 4 miles out of town, but in the town area, riding their bikes or walking, 2 kids walking to the wherever, and they're actually like living like I grew up how we lived.
Mm-hmm.
Where in Aptos, you can't really just send your kid on a bike to go to Deluxe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not safe. It's just different.
Mm-hmm.
It's a small town where we are, and I really appreciate that.
The virtue of a small town is great. I grew up in a small town in Oregon, and the pace of life is much different. You know a lot of people, and I'm sure you will get to know a lot of people there, knowing you and Mark. And I'm glad that you're getting involved politically there and making some good friends there.
Yeah, I'm the representative. I mean, I've gotten to know some political people. Mark just applied for a job with a solid waste agency. They need a budget committee. So he just applied, which, I mean, that sounds like torture to me, but that's something he would enjoy doing, volunteering his time and doing that. Yeah. So we'll see if he gets the position.
Oh, wow.
But that's how you got to put yourself out there.
Yeah. But
we've got I go ahead. What?
Oh, I was just saying we've got a caller here. I think I recognize the number. Do you want to take a call? Oh, he just dropped.
Sure.
Okay, I think he dropped. So if anybody wants to call in, we've got about 4.5 minutes here. Call in 265-5050. We're talking with Kris Kirby, who pulled up stakes after being a multi-generation California rooted in person here and moved to Grants Pass, Oregon. So here's the last question, Kris. How are you doing with the change in the climate? We're used to this mild Mediterranean climate here. How are you doing up there? What's it like? Snow tires?
No snow. You hear them, but I don't have. I have all-wheel drive on my car, but I haven't really needed it. November, December, it rained quite a bit. I think we got like 20 inches. And then January, nothing. It's been, the most mornings in the last couple of weeks, it's like 19 degrees when we wake up. So we have a pond, and it's frozen over in the morning. I've been told the fish that are in there are just hiding, and they'll come back in the spring, which will be interesting to see. It started raining again early this morning, and it's supposed to rain for a week and maybe some snow next week here, which will be fun to see. We were on the Rogue River, so the view and just watching the boats. We went and looked at a boat I found on Marketplace the other day. In 1959, the year I was born, 16-foot boat for $900. Needless to say, we didn't buy it, but I thought it'll be. We're looking for a boat to put on the river and to go up and down, because it's really. We see boats all the time.
Motorboats? You can take a motorboat on it?
Yes. And there's this thing Memorial Day weekend called Boatnik, and apparently they race different kind of boats up and down this river. So we have a big patio area down by the river, and we're going to have a party.
Wow, you would never see that on the San Lorenzo River, would you?
No. Yeah, lots of boats. And duck and goose season just ended this last Sunday, and before that, we'd be laying in bed on weekends mostly weekends. All of a sudden you hear boom, 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 and people are taking gunshot at ducks and geese, and I'm like, oh my God, this is it's a little unnerving, but I guess you get used to it.
Yeah. Where I grew up in Eastern Oregon, there was pheasant hunting season, and I know what that's like. I know what that's like. Our problem was that people would come from the coast, Portland, and over to the desert where I lived and the pheasants were, and they would drive down the road drinking beer and shooting pheasants in our pastures. That was a little not so great. But waterfowl's a little different. Kris, we've got a couple of minutes left. I want to just ask you if there's anything else you would like to tell our listeners about what it's like to move out of California and start a different life.
Well, I say if you're thinking about it, go find a good spot to move to and do it.
Just do it.
At 65 years old, it's a lot of work. Do it if you want to when you're younger.
Yeah.
Or do it now because as we get older, it's harder to do.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have zero regrets other than I do miss my friends, but it's only 7.5 hours, so anybody can come up here and stay. We have plenty of room.
Wow. That's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us here on Community Matters and SantaCruzVoice.com. I hope you will...
Thank you for doing what you're doing.
My pleasure. And I hope you'll come back and... Thank you. That's the great thing about SantaCruzVoice.com. You can listen from anywhere in the world, including Grants Pass, Oregon. So,
exactly.
Thank you very much. Please give my regards to Mark and John, and if you can tell them apart. And we'd like to have you back maybe next month for any other updates you might be able to provide.
Sounds great.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. Talk to you soon. Bye.
All right. Thanks for joining Community Matters. We'll have another guest next week, maybe the fire department. Big changes coming our way. Stay tuned. And thanks.
Hey, baby, how's it going?
Okay. Do you want me to take this down, or do you want to just do it? What do you want to do?
I can take it down.
Okay.
I can take it down.
Let me get my program recorded. Thank you.
It takes about 12 seconds for the how is Miss Kirby doing up there?
She loves it.
She loves it. Where does she live in Oregon?
Grants Pass,
Okay.
Oregon.
All right. Okay. I know where that is.
near Medford and that area. It's cold.
Yes.
They're maybe going to get some snow next week. But she has 0 regrets, she said. It's a lot of work.
Right.
But they did an interesting thing and just used pods. They got a couple of pods and just had everything that they wanted to keep in the pods, and that was moved up. It was about $6,500. And they sold their house within 1 week after it was listed for cash and more than it was listed for.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who the hell has all this cash it's buying?
I know.
Rich people. I feel like a complete loser down here. Hi. Is this your US? Do you know if you're recorded now?